Hey, Bereans, let's take a look at this whole chapter, Genesis chapter 5 on genealogy. It's our 5 minutes chat. Let's do this. Right, this is an amazing piece of chart that we see here, and we will go through it because there is a belief that this Septuagint chronology is a more accurate chronology than the ones that we see in some of our Bibles. So based on what we see here, I need to talk about a couple of characters, and those are the key characters that are in chapter 5 that we are going to look at. So if we look at Adam, it's not as long as what some other accounts put him. And so Adam would go right across, but Enoch may not have known Adam, but Enoch would certainly have known Seth. But remember, Seth is the righteous line that started after Cain killed Abel, and Cain went off to start the unrighteous line. So you can see some of the things that are stated on the left-hand side after the flood. There is Nimrod, and then there is also the pyramids. And so these things we will do when we come to chapter 11, but we will try to stay focused on what we want to do today. So that would be Enosh that we did yesterday when we did the account that at the time in chapter 4, verse 26, men called upon the name of the Lord, and that was Enosh. The next person that we want to see that is, of course, Enoch. Enoch is an amazing man. He is a man who walked with God, and God took him. So that's another person we want to look at. But through Enoch came Methuselah, who lived the longest because God showed his grace. And that age was the time when the flood came, when he died. So that is the flood. And God gave him the longest age so that the flood would have a little bit more time before it came. In fact, his son Lamech died before him. Lamech gave birth to Noah, whom we also want to talk about because he was the one who went through the flood. All right, so the genealogy starts with Genesis 5. This is the scroll of the generations of Adam in the day that Elohim created man. He made him in the likeness of Elohim. So Adam was the only person made in the likeness of Elohim. And in Romans 5:14, it captures this. Although according to this, death reigned from Adam unto Moshe, which is Moses, even over those who had not sinned in the likeness of the transgression of Adam, which is in his image of him who is to come. So obviously, Jesus Christ would be the one who is to come. Then we go on to verse 3, where we want to capture on Seth. And Adam had lived 130 years. He fathered a son in his own likeness, according to his image, and named him his name Seth. So now man was getting children in his own image rather than the image of God, which Adam was made in. So there's a complete change. So in the Genesis 4:26 account, which I just said earlier, to Seth, to him also a son was born, and he called his name Enosh. Then it began to call upon the name of Adonai. The meaning of this is man, person, mortal. He was the son of Seth. So Enosh is bringing the understanding that this is man, no more in the image of God. This is person, this is mortal. So there goes that understanding from that understanding of the meaning of the name. Now, Genesis 5:19, then Jared, lived 800 years after he fathered Hanok. This is Enoch. And he fathered sons and daughters. Enoch lived 65 years and fathered Methuselah. So all the days of Enoch was 365. Enoch walked with the Elohim, and he was not, or Elohim took him. This is an amazing account. He obviously would have heard how Adam himself had conversed with God face to face. And these stories must have come through Seth, and obviously that gave him that whole need to dedicate himself, because his name means dedicated. So he dedicated himself to God and he walked with God, same like Enosh did. But this Enoch walked on and God took him up. Then we come to the other name that I mentioned in verse 26. Then Methuselah lived 782 years and he fathered Lamech, and he fathered sons and daughters. The next verse, so all the days of Methuselah were 969 years and he died. He is considered the oldest person who ever lived. And his name means man of the dart. And I really don't know what that really means, but it is from the name dictionary that you can find that. And then comes to the final part. Lamech lived 182 years and fathered a son. And he called his name Noah, saying, this one shall give us rest from our work and from the toil of our hands, from the ground which Adonai has cursed. So they realized that Noah would be the one who will have the opportunity to come to this new world, which is already cleaned out from the curse that God had put upon it, where they had to sweat and work the ground with thorns and thistles on it. But Peter captures another essence in it. Peter chapter 3 verse 20 says, who were formerly disobedient when the long suffering of Elohim waited in the days of Noah, while the ark was being built in it. And the ark took about 75 years to build, and the people would have known that something was happening, which a few, that is 8 souls, were saved through the waters. Remember, we saw 800 million people in the yesterday's chart was in existence because of the mating with the angelic beings and mating with the Son of Man and Son of God and all the various combinations of mating. We had a huge number of people on earth. But this one speaks about the baptism of water. As Peter points out, were saved through the waters. This is the baptism of water. But there is another baptism that's coming, the baptism of fire. Well, that's for another time. So we will stop here and continue the next time round. Thanks.